Genuine signs of intelligence you can't fake. Welcome to Relaxing Facts Studio. Most people think intelligence is easy to spot. The fast talker. The person with an answer for everything. The one who sounds confident in every room, every argument, every conversation. But here's the strange part. Some of the smartest people you'll ever meet don't look intelligent in the way we've been trained to recognize. Because real intelligence is not mainly revealed by what you know. It shows up in what happens when knowledge runs out. And that changes the entire definition. You can see it first in the way people respond to uncertainty. Most people experience not knowing as a threat. Watch what happens in conversations. Someone asks a difficult question, and the room immediately starts manufacturing certainty. Opinions appear. Strong takes appear. Confident explanations appear. Not necessarily because people understand. Because uncertainty feels psychologically expensive. But highly intelligent people often do something that looks weaker before you understand what you're seeing. They pause. They ask better questions instead of faster answers. They can sit inside ambiguity without panicking. Because they understand something uncomfortable. Clarity is often delayed. The need to impress talks. The need to understand listens. But this creates another problem. If you become comfortable questioning the world, eventually you have to question yourself. And that is where many minds quietly break down. Human beings are remarkably skilled at defending their own beliefs. We reinterpret evidence. We protect old conclusions. We explain away contradictions. Not because we're irrational monsters, because identity is involved. Changing your mind doesn't just threaten an opinion. Sometimes it threatens the person you think you are. Which is why genuine intelligence is surprisingly tied to intellectual humility. Not the performance of humility. The operational version. The ability to say, "I may be wrong," and remain psychologically intact. That sounds simple. Until reality asks you to abandon a belief you've built your ego around. A weak mind protects opinions. A strong mind upgrades them. And once someone becomes willing to update their inner map, another hidden ability begins to emerge. They start separating facts from stories. Which matters more than most people realize. Because humans rarely react to reality directly. We react to our interpretation of reality. Two coworkers receive the same criticism. One hears useful feedback. The other hears personal rejection. Same event. Different narrative. Intelligent people often notice this invisible layer most people mistake for truth. They ask a difficult internal question. What actually happened, and what meaning did I attach to it? That distinction changes relationships, decision-making, conflict, even self-worth. Many emotional battles are not fights with reality. They are fights with narrative. And once you begin seeing narratives everywhere, you notice another strange contradiction about modern life. We live in the most information-rich environment in human history. Yet confusion feels abundant. Because intelligence is not the same thing as information consumption. Knowing more headlines doesn't automatically produce deeper thinking. Reading more opinions doesn't automatically produce wisdom. In fact, Sometimes the smartest behavior is subtraction, filtering, protecting attention, refusing mental clutter disguised as knowledge. In a culture addicted to constant input, deep focus starts looking almost rebellious. Smart minds don't collect more noise. They protect signal, which leads to the final misunderstanding people have about intelligence. Many assume intelligence is fundamentally about winning. Winning debates, winning perception, winning social status, being the person who always appears right. But genuine intelligence often becomes less interested in victory and more interested in alignment with reality. Because once understanding becomes the goal, performance loses some of its appeal. You no longer need to dominate every conversation. You no longer need to prove your depth every 5 minutes. You become more interested in accuracy than applause. And maybe that's why real intelligence is so difficult to fake. Anyone can memorize information, borrow sophisticated language, perform confidence. But sustained curiosity, intellectual flexibility, disciplined attention, the willingness to let truth outrank ego, those are harder to imitate. Because genuine intelligence is not a collection of impressive traits. It is a completely different operating system for dealing with reality. Thank you for spending this time with Relaxing Facts Studio.